Tim?
Yeah, you have the financial reports in the packet. For the month of January, a very low month in revenue, which it normally is. We received $299,000 in revenue for the month. The majority of that in property taxes, but again, the property tax number significantly low. Revenue at the end of the first 7 months is 48% budget, which makes sense because of the fact that we received so little in January. That obviously percentage is going to jump up in February and even more so in March. On the expenditure side, $2.1 million in total expenditures. The two items that I tried to highlight there were that this is when we make the quarterly payment to Airmark, that's $289,000, and we made an annual payment to LADSI, $277,000. So those were the two big purchase service contracts that we paid on, and obviously that was a very significant amount of that $2.1 million. Our operating fund balances at the end of January were a little over $6 million. There was a question regarding the balances that are shown on the summary of revenue and expenditures. We show a balance of $49,000 in the education fund at the end of January, and actually a negative balance in the IMRF fund of a negative $15,000. Those are the actual fund balances. They don't include the loans with the money that we previously put into those funds. So the education fund has an additional $1 million over and above that $49,000, and the IMRF fund has an additional $50,000 over that.
Why don't we show the
negative
loans as a
$14,000.
balance if we loaned the money to the fund?
It's just on the financial reports that come out of the software. This is considered the fund balance. It doesn't include the liabilities that you have with when it's loaned into it.
Okay.
All right.
There was also a question regarding an adjustment of $15,000 that was put through by the auditors. This was when they finished the audit of the treasurer's office and the bank reconciliations at the treasurer's office. They reconciled all of the revenue that we had received, which was about $26 million. There was an adjustment of $15 million in that when they went through all of the bank reconciliations. $15,000 out of $26 million.
Well, I'll restate my continuing desire to someday actually have reports that explain things, because that function isn't in our budget or in any of the finances you gave us, so there was no way to look at this and know what that stood for. Sometimes I just don't understand it, but in this case, the number's not on any document you ever gave us before. And if we could someday, move into the 21st century and put reports where it puts the codes and the words, maybe people would be able to understand what's in the reports that we have here.
So could you explain that $15,000 in greater detail? What exactly?
The auditors, when they go to the treasurer's office, they audit the main account that we have for all of the revenue goes. There's a separate account set up just for the revenue that comes from the state and from the county. They reconcile that account every month, okay, and they make adjustments to that account as they find them. In this case, over the course of the prior 12 months in 2013, they found adjustments that had to be made that totaled the $15,500.
So what they're saying, So what they're saying is that the treasurer's office overpaid us by $15,000?
Yes.
Us or somebody.
Pardon?
No, us. You
I'm sorry.
sure that's the situation, or was there a situation where they're reconciling their bank account, all of a sudden there's a discrepancy of $50,000 and our portion is $15,000?
No, this was just our.
What I'm saying is they had on their books bank balance of $75,000, actual bank balance was $25,000, they had a $50,000 difference they had to write off. Do you know the true circumstances of what happened
Yes,
there?
they sent me all the details. This was
So
specifically
they
for
overpaid,
us.
so some specific
Over the-
state grant or state monies that they
Well,
had
it-
received to allocate to us were overpaid, and they then had to send it to some other district?
Could be a posting.
Yeah, it could, but this includes property taxes, it's all the money that comes from the state, it's general state aid, it's any money that comes from the state. So it's all of our revenue.
Right.
Out of,
So they sent it to us when they should have sent it to another district.
yes,
Not a write-off at their
no,
treasurer's office.
no.
Okay.
But how would we know that? Is there documentation you could ask for?
He's got
Yeah, I have
got
some
it.
documentation
Yeah.
from the auditors, it's probably 10, 15 pages of documentation.
All right.
Did
Any
we-
other questions on the budget?
Did we get the treasurer's audit
Yes.
Yes, you got it last month.
last month, right?